There's a couple new gaming news stories we have to talk about today, starting with Sega and a detailed outline of this super game project that they have been announcing at various investor meetings and things, and there has been a brand new interview that goes into more detail on what we can expect from this project, and some people will probably be very unhappy. Then the big talking point for today's video has to do with Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, specifically N64 titles, and a surprise game that is being planned for one region of the world, and why it may point to maybe getting more than one N64 game per month going forward. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, we got a couple different stories to discuss today, and we have to kick it off with a conversation around Sega and their super game project, as we have heard them talk about this over months in, months out, with them basically just referencing a large 5-year plus plan, and it always sounded like up to this point in time that whatever the super game project was just one specific game and one specific mega project that Sega is going to pour a ton of money and resources into. And we did just have a brand new interview go live where some new questions were asked around Super Game, and with the new information that came out of this interview, it is sounding like Super Game is a much different project, and it is not going to be one specific title or one specific game from Sega, but rather a large step towards where they see gaming going forward. And to get on the same page with all the details that have been announced here, let's quickly hop over to VGC, where they have an article typed up breaking everything down around Sega and the Super Game project. Sega says its Super Game plan is multiple games and may use NFTs. It was previously believed that the codename referred to a single AAA title. Sega has shed more light on its Super Game project, explaining that it actually refers to multiple games and that some of them could incorporate cloud or NFT technology. In May 2021, the company revealed during a financial results presentation that its long-term plan included a 5-year strategy called Creation of Super Game. Its parent company Sega Sammy then claimed in November that it would consider investing up to 100 billion yen or 882 million over the next 5 years to achieve its Super Game ambitions. At the time, it was believed that Super Game was going to be a single enormous title, but a new internal interview has clarified that it refers to a description Sega is giving to a number of high-budget games it has planned. In an interview on Sega Japan's recruitment website translated by VGC, Executive VP Tsuji Utsumi, I probably pronounced that completely wrong, explained Sega offers a wide range of game content, including hardware and arcade content, which is made possible by its diverse range of technologies. We've defined Super Game as the development of AAA titles that cross over Sega's comprehensive range of technologies, and we will aim to achieve this in our 5-year plan. Explaining further, Utsumi said several titles are being developed within the framework of Super Game, and while each title will vary, there is no doubt that they will be interactive titles that go beyond the traditional framework of games. For example, in the past, people who played games were called gamers, but now watching games has become a culture in itself, and such people could no longer be called gamers. I think there is great potential in the relationship between people who play and watch games. We are thinking of creating new entertainment with these possibilities. According to Utsumi, a Super Game title has to meet 4 main criteria: 1 multi-platform, 2 global multi-language development, 3 simultaneous worldwide release, and 4 AAA titles. In other words, you can imagine that the scale of the game development will be that of a global blockbuster. The Super Game project could also incorporate cloud technology and NFTs, 2 technologies Sega has recently been getting involved with. Now, from that interview, there's no telling exactly what Sega is working on here with the Super Game project, but we at least now know it is multiple AAA projects, and unfortunately, it sounds like they are leaning in very heavily to the cloud and NFT side of things, which sounds like games as a service and microtransactions galore, and they may market it alongside of NFTs being, your unique version. You can only purchase this and you'll be the direct owner of this skin. I hope that that is not the direction they are going with this. You may remember previously on the channel, we praised Sega because their president actually said that if NFTs were something that were viewed as a cash grab from gamers, that they would back off of the technology altogether. Then shortly after that, we saw a trademark hit online that showed that Sega had actually registered for Sega NFT, and they had the logo up and everything. So clearly they are playing around with the idea of that technology. How it is implemented will be everything on whether or not gamers view it as just that, a simple cash grab like we're seeing so many other companies do right now, like it's pretty gross in the space of gaming today, but it is something that is a technology that's not all bad in my opinion if done right. But the problem is nobody is taking any time to do anything valuable with it at this point in time, and it very much feels like quick cash money for these companies right now. Looking at you, Ubisoft, because they have leaned into it very heavily. So we'll have to see what happens with Sega and the future of gaming as a whole. It's definitely something that you can't deny, that games as a service is just bringing in so much revenue to these companies. Look at how long Grand Theft Auto 5 has been on the market, and GTA Online now even getting its own Plus subscription. And then look at all the free-to-play games that are massive success hits. And I know that I am not a fan of that game style, but there is also an entire generation growing up that just sees a free-to-play game, they get hooked into it, and then they slowly start spending money, and they ultimately spend way more than the $60 or $70 that they would pay as a one-time purchase on a traditional style game. So we'll have to see what Sega has planned here. It's even sounding like with the cloud side of things that it could be some kind of metaverse project. Like, it's going to be a very interesting ride to be on as a old school traditional gamer and watch where we're headed in the next 5, 10, 15 years with gaming. And I'm just hopeful that alongside of all of the new technologies that come out, that we still have the big classical games to look forward to. Most recently with Sega, I'm very pumped to see what Sonic Frontiers has to offer, as it will be the first attempt at an open zone Sonic game, and that is the kind of things that I will spend my money on with them. And I will keep my eyes and ears open around this Sega Super Game project once we get more information in the future. But clearly this is a big deal, as they are investing heavy cash into this. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below, your personal thoughts and feelings around Sega's new information on what this Super Game project is, what you would personally speculate that we're going to see from them going forward, and whether or not you are a fan of these different cloud and NFT and games as a service projects that we are seeing more and more of in 2022 and beyond. So please share all your thoughts and feelings on all things Sega Super Game in the comments down below. Now, the other story we're talking about today has to do with Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack and a surprise N64 game that is actually slated for release in Japan that I think has been talked about before, but it definitely wasn't on my radar up to this point in time. And you probably have remembered in previous videos, I've talked about the fact that now that Mario Golf is the next title, we only have Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, and Pokemon Snap to look forward to as the upcoming announced N64 games. And to my surprise, Japan is scheduled to get another game release, which is known as Custom Robo and Custom Robo V2. Now, it looks like these were region N64 games to begin with, and we have seen Nintendo do things like this with the SNES and NES service as well, where Japan gets a different game that we don't get here in the States or anywhere else in the world. But I do think that this creates an interesting conversation around the fact that if Nintendo sticks to their one per month N64 game like they have so far, and we get to June when we are expecting the next Nintendo Direct to hit, and that's probably when they give us the batch roadmap update about future N64 games, where does this leave this Custom Robo game? Because clearly that could create a situation where we actually see 2 N64 games in a single month hit the service as opposed to one. And to get on the same page with all the details and where this has been spotted and brought up, I want to quickly hop over to Nintendo Life, where they have the detailed article typed up, and then have a broader discussion of what this could mean for the future of the service. So let's quickly read through this together. Nintendo highlights another N64 title coming soon to Switch's online expansion pack in Japan. Custom Robo V2 is on the way. Earlier this week, Nintendo announced it would be releasing the N64 classic Mario Golf on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. It means the remaining games which have already been revealed include Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, and Pokemon Snap. There are a few other games we know about, but the catch is they'll both be regional exclusives to Japan. In case you need a reminder, Japan will at some point be getting Custom Robo and Custom Robo V2. While this has been previously highlighted, it seems at least one of these releases could be coming very soon. In a similar but different version of the updated Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack trailer for Japan during the N64 segment, you can see an image of the Custom Robo V2 box art. This once again reconfirms the game and also suggests it'll be arriving in the near future, either before or after the release of Kirby 64 and Pokemon Snap. Now, clearly, because these games have never been localized, it's not something that can just easily be dropped into NSO worldwide, but I do think that this poses that interesting question around what Nintendo may be planning for a roadmap going forward, because they could just do something like release 2 games at once in Japan only and totally ignore that strategy for the rest of the world, or we could start to see them transition to a formula of a little bit quicker roadmap, as if you do believe the data mine that is out there around NSO, and I definitely do. It is clearly slated that there is 38 titles for Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack at least built into the system right now or built into the emulator that they have space for. And if you think about where that leads you after the end of the announced N64 games in June, that is 22 remaining months of N64 titles being added into the service, which feels like a very long time. And clearly we've had a lot of discussion around the quality of N64 games that they can continue to pull from going forward, as a lot of the big hitters have already been added to the service. Yes, there are definitely some big missing ones out there from studios like Rare that really created some of the best N64 games, period. Talking about games like Donkey Kong 64, Diddy Kong Racing, Perfect Dark, which I don't think will make it due to its M rating, GoldenEye hopefully one day, as there's a ton of rumors around that. And the list goes on and on with various different N64 titles, but at some point we're going to get to those kind of bottom of the barrel titles that people may or may not know even existed on the N64 at all, and doesn't make sense at that point to just stick to a one N64 game per month. Or if it is a shorter, more simple game, would you not want to put out maybe 2 in that type of month? And I do think that the custom Robo V2 or V1, whatever launches first, I do think that that'll be an interesting thing to watch unfold, because if they do indeed do 2 games in a single month, that may be setting a precedent that over the course of time worldwide we could see the same thing, especially when they're smaller titles. Because I know when we're not talking about massive games like Zelda Majora's Mask, F-Zero, and all of the great ones we've seen added to the service so far, we're going to start to wonder, well, I don't even know what this game is, and you're telling me that's the only game added to this paid subscription service for this month? Well, at that point it makes a lot of sense for Nintendo to do 2, maybe even 3, to wrap up the future of the N64 library and start to move on to other systems like the Game Boy family of systems, and hopefully far off into the future things like GameCube, although I wouldn't expect anything like that to be announced until after some kind of more powerful hardware or the true next-gen successor to the Switch comes out. But regardless, this is an interesting talking point for me, so I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, all your personal thoughts and feelings on N64 games on NSO going forward. Do you think we're going to move to more of a system of 2 or 3 N64 games being added in at a time when you talk about the smaller N64 games that not many fans have heard of? Or do you think that Nintendo really does stick to this 1 per month game roadmap that we've seen them do so far, and we're in for another 22 months of updates on the service going forward after June? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on both the stories we talked about today, I do want to hear from you guys in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Make sure you check out yesterday's video if you haven't already, where we discussed some leaked new gameplay footage around Multiverses, a Smash Bros clone that is slated for 2022, and a discussion around the brand new update that just hit Metroid Dread. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.